there was a bear. A mama bear and 2 cubs. Holy cow. That's probably the biggest turnip I've ever seen in my life. Look at that. Wow. These amazing prehistoric birds are sandhill cranes. Always in pairs. They mate for life. They like to hang around in the farm fields. Good morning, everyone. We just mowed a path through the fields, so I thought I would take you with me, and we can check out some of the scenery this morning. It is so beautiful and so peaceful out here today. Look at the sunflowers kind of in the background here. Let's have a closer look. Isn't that just so incredibly beautiful? Sometimes you'll see bees sleeping on the sunflowers, but I don't see any this morning. Garden is maturing, is nice and mature now. We got really cold weather last night, and I was afraid of frost, but it looks like we didn't get frost, thankfully, because we've still got a lot of fruit to pick on these plants, and a lot of them are still very green, so I'll be doing a big harvest today. I'd like to get more of the turnips picked and processed. I'm going to be freezing them this year. We don't quite have our cold room ready. We're going to be putting a cold storage, food storage space in our barn, but it's not going to be ready this year. Look at the dill with all the dew on it. Isn't that just amazing? It looks like frost, but it's not. It's just morning dew. So beautiful. We got a seed head coming up there. Just amazing how beautiful that is in the sun. I love the garden in the morning. I'm going to be, I'm whispering because it's so quiet out here. We've got broccoli that's ready to pick. Lots of pumpkins. So I'll be checking to see which ones I can pick now, because I'm a little nervous about frost, but some of them I think are ready for picking. So I'll be picking those. And here's our pollinator garden. Right now it's a lot of the flowers are closed, but they'll be opening soon as it starts to warm up a bit. And probably by the time we get back from our walk, this will be covered in bees. So lovely. So lovely. Let's take a bit of a walk. Try to navigate my way through this garden this morning. So, yesterday I checked the wildlife camera. That was kind of farther down in the woods. And there was a bear. A mama bear and 2 cubs. And we actually have another mama bear on the north end of the property and one cub. So we've got some bear families living here. So I'm always a little careful when I take my morning walk. Lots of bear sightings in the area this year. I guess they must be thriving. We've had a lot of berries, like especially blackberries. So wherever the blackberries are, generally there are bears. So yeah, I'll walk carefully through here. But yeah, let me show you the path that I'm walking on. We mow this so that we can just enjoy the fields. This was the outhouse we used to use. It will be used again once the tiny barn is a guest house. That's the tiny barn there in silhouette. The blue jays are singing away this morning. Oh, I'll show you this spider web. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Gosh, nature is just incredibly amazing. That beautiful dark red color. The fall is coming. It's such a lovely time of year though. We get the golden light in August, which I just love. Oh, look at these spider webs. Look at that. Wow. I tell you, spiders are artists. They just create the most amazing spider webs. So yeah, my husband will use the little John Deere mower to mow these paths. And it's actually quite funny to watch, to see him riding it out in the fields. This tiny little tractor. I mean, it's not that tiny, but it seems tiny in these large fields. Oh, the spider's in that web. Let's see if I can catch that. Look at that. Wow. There's another web. I'm just fascinated by these spider webs. So lovely. Anyway, I hope you guys like spider webs as much as I do. Wow, I can't believe how quiet it is. This is probably one of the quieter mornings that I've experienced here. Even the birds are quieted down. I mean, in the springtime, it's just like a symphony. But you can tell when it gets colder, the world quiets down. Oh, look at these. Oh, I can't remember what these are called. Here, I'll show you. These beautiful blue flowers, purple flowers. I'll look them up. For some reason, the name of these always escapes me. There's more there. I'm happy to see these on the property. I didn't think we had them out here. I almost needed a sweater this morning. There's a little path through the grass there. Probably a coyote or foxes. We get a lot of foxes around here. So right now we're approaching kind of the old entrance to the old homestead here. So the house was taken down in the 70s by our neighbor, but Look at how pretty this is. These cedars were part of the entrance of the old driveway. So we use this driveway now for the tiny barn. And you could see some of the old cedars there. Just the stumps are left. It's almost like driftwood. But there used to be an old house here. Way back. And a man named Hugh used to live here. But this is the old foundation. So that's part of it there. So this would have been the basement. It was an old wooden farmhouse. Not very big, probably about 20 by 30 maybe. Maybe even 20 by 20. Look at the view out here. Tiny barn. Our original home here for many, many months. If any of you would like to learn a little more about the tiny barn, I'll put the link to the story of the tiny barn video in the show notes, and also just as an end screen on the video, you can check that out. Quite a neat story. We also had foxes living under here. I think there's a groundhog under there now, but there used to be a family of foxes that lived there. All right, let's head up to the garden, and then maybe we'll take a walk up through the other path, and I'll show you what's going on back there. We still have some scrap wood down here that we need to take care of, but we'll be doing a dump run soon. We don't really like to, you have to get a fire permit in order to burn wood here. And because it's so wild here, like just in terms of all the evergreens and plant growth, as you can see, we don't cut our fields. Not yet anyway. We don't like to take any risks with fire, so we just take it to the dump. Old wood. It was just leftovers from when we cleaned out the tiny barn. We thought we'd use some of it, but of course sitting there for a few winters, it'll just rot in place. So let's take a look at the garden. I've started to dig up some potatoes, and they're doing all right actually. Corn amongst the weeds. Oh, we got a little sunflower. The first little sunflower in this corner has bloomed. Hello, welcome to the world, sunflower. But these are all little sunflowers, the small ones. Well, smallish. And then it looks like they're all about to bloom. And look at these. Elderberry. Look how beautiful that is. Ooh, they're already ripe and starting to fall off, so I might have to collect those. I want to try to make elderberry syrup. You can't eat these raw, they're poisonous. However, you can make, if you cook them and you make elderberry syrup, they're really good if you have like a cold or sore throat through the wintertime. So I'd like to try that this year. So yeah, overall, I think the garden did pretty good this year. There's always room for improvement. I mean, the weeds went crazy, of course. But at the end of the day, we got a lot of food. Still have a lot to harvest. And the tomatoes did really well. Lots to pick. These are especially good. They're one of my favorites. Sun sugar. Let's head over to the back of the property. It's our screen porch. We just got new screens. which is really exciting. We sit out here now in the evening without getting harassed by mosquitoes. My future greenhouse, that'll be a project for next year. Right now we just have our firewood in here. I won't go in because there's several wasp nests in there, but that's our firewood there for our little wood stove. The view from here is really beautiful. Oh, I could see the bears have been through here. These are blackberries. Most of them are munched and scrunched. Yeah, they've been through here for sure. Oh well, that's the way it goes. That's my little lovely spot in the woods here. We'll be cleaning some of these lower branches and just putting a little bench in here so we can sit. It's just so pretty in here and peaceful. So the plan for today, I think it's probably about, 7 in the morning now. The plan for today is to harvest. It's definitely a harvest day. I think some of those pumpkins, the little pumpkins, I'm going to pick those. I'm going to pick some turnips. Check and just pick any of the ripe tomatoes. And what else? I'm not sure. I'll keep the carrots in the ground for now, just because they're fine, even if there's a frost. They actually get sweeter as time goes on, as the colder weather starts to come in. The carrots get sweeter, so I'm okay with just leaving them. Potatoes are fine as well. They're underground, so. But the turnips, I don't want the turnips to get too big. They get pretty woody and kind of stronger flavor. So I don't really want those. I'd rather them be more tender. So I'm going to pick some of those and blanch them and freeze them. Like I mentioned earlier, our cold storage space won't be ready this year. We've got so many other projects on the go. We were hoping to have it for this year, but it's not going to happen. But that's okay. I'll just do a lot of freezing. I'm actually going to go pick up this weekend, I'm picking up a second freezer. I'll show you the view from here. Just gorgeous. Minus the barking dogs. So yeah, the barn is mostly done. We've got this side here is finished. I think there's a little bit of soffit that needs to be completed, but very minor. We still need to build a door and get a light. We had a light, but then it broke. So we're gonna have to find it. We're looking for just to go right up there. We're looking for an antique barn light, but the one we had was kind of small and puny, so we want something a little more robust, a little larger. And then we'll be doing sliding doors here with the big X on them. We're probably going to do them in the same metal with a wooden X, like wooden trim. So that's another thing that we need to get done. All right, so I guess I'm going to get my garden basket ready for harvest and see what we have in the garden. Let's head out to the garden, see what we've got out here. So let's check on the pollinator garden again. See what the bees are up to. Oh, the bees are starting up. Look at this. Bees love these little orange flowers. Isn't that just incredible? And look at the poppies. So beautiful. I love the bees. All right, so let's get picking. I look for the plants that are kind of dying back a little bit. But if the pumpkins are green on the back, then I leave them to ripen a little further. Don't want to pick them too early. This one looks pretty good. There's one. Oh yeah, beautiful. Look at this. Look at that. Isn't that so beautiful? Yeah, so I don't want to pick any of the ones that are a little green. These ones are more ripe, but pretty amazing. I have to go back and have a look at this pollinator garden. These poppies are just so impressive. Bees are waking up. So beautiful. These are so pretty too, these blue flowers. Well, still kind of green on the bottom, so we'll leave that one. Yeah, some of them are green on the bottom, so we'll leave them, let them ripen. So we're going to make our way over, probably to the turnips, I think. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to pick broccoli because these are ready for picking. I just leave the leaves in the pathways here. Little guys, but that's okay. My hope is that we may still have some time in the season to get some side shoots on these broccolis. Oh, this is a nice one. I'll show you this. Yeah, because often when you pick them, the plant will start to produce side shoots. Look at that. That's not bad, eh? Pretty good. Really happy with the broccoli this year. I already have a bunch in the freezer. I think that might be it. Let's see. Oh, there's one there. That's a little guy, but that's okay. And there's some smaller ones here, so we'll let those hopefully form into larger heads. And let's make our way over to the turnips. Okay, so we're going to pick some turnips. We've got a whole bunch here. And I'm probably going to compost the really, really big ones because I just feel like they're a little too woody for our liking. But some of the medium to small ones, I'm going to blanch them and freeze them. So yeah, we're going to pick some turnips here and thin out this crazy turnip patch. This is the size I prefer, the kind of little ones. Not too small, but not too big either. Just, they have more of a mild flavor. They're just nicer to consume. Look how beautiful that one is. That's a lovely turnip. Gorgeous. I'll admit I'm not a huge fan of turnips. I mean, they're okay. I like them in winter dishes, like beef stew. Turnips are really nice. I don't mind them roasted with a bunch of other vegetables like potatoes and carrots. But other than that, not a huge fan. If anybody's got some delicious turnip recipes out there, I'd be open to trying some new recipes that maybe kind of enhances the turnip experience. They're a nice storage vegetable. So that's why I grew them, hoping that we would have our cold room ready this year, but we won't. So we'll be having some turnips stored in the freezer. This one's quite large, but it's in wonderful condition, so I'm going to keep that one. I have a volunteer tomato plant here. Holy cow. That's probably the biggest turnip I've ever seen in my life. All right. Okay, so pretty good harvest here. There. Zucchinis, turnips, and I could almost pick some kale, but you know what? I'm going to leave the kale for now. I want it to get a little bigger, and it's very cold resistant, so kale will be just fine in the garden. But what I am going to pick now is the ripe tomatoes, and then I'm going to try to get some of the green onions as well. I'll put the zucchini in here, so they're not falling all over the place. All right. Let's see what we got. Not quite. I find these larger ones haven't been doing that great. They seem to rot pretty quickly. I'll be curious to see how they do once I have them in the greenhouse next year. We're hoping to have some animals on the farm, at least starting with chickens, and we'll start to be able to close that loop and bringing our own fertility into the garden. But for now, we have so many farms around here. We get sheep manure. We feel it has the least amount of weed seeds, even though our garden is completely covered in weeds. That's our tomatoes for today. And let's grab some onions. Some of these are still relatively small, but you know what? It doesn't matter. I chop them up. And into the freezer they go, and they're super handy when I'm making soups or stir fry or anything. It's nice to just have kind of that chive-sized onion flavor in our soups and stews. They're just wonderful. All right, I think it's a pretty good amount. I like to do these in smallish amounts so it's not overwhelming. That should keep me busy. Yeah, let's take this in, get them cleaned up and processed. I wanted to show you our freezer. We're getting another one this Saturday because, look, we're packed full. Well, getting there anyway. So these are all our vegetables that I freeze. This is kale, kale and collards, lots of shredded zucchini. I've got some turnips in here, some ready-made meals that I made, like just some chili soup, bean stew. I've got some cooked beans in here. So those are originally from our dry beans, and then I cook them. I've got broccoli blanched in here, carrots. So yeah, and I've got like zucchini bread in here, more collards, more broccoli. So, and then just some local meats that we got from a farm nearby. But yeah, we're getting pretty full in here, so we've got another freezer coming on Saturday. Here we go. I've got my work cut out for me today. I've got all my onions and my turnips, tomatoes. We got more tomatoes sitting there on the counter. And then of course I've got these lovely items in here, my pumpkins. Thank you so much for joining me today at Tiny Barn Farm. I certainly have my work cut out for me with all the things I need to process for the freezer, but I wanted to wish you all a wonderful day, and we will see you next time here. Take care.